In this tutorial, we are going to look at how to create an interactive map. It's actually a lot easier than it sounds using Google Maps and using some of the tools that are available to you in Google Maps. One of the reasons why you might want to create an interactive map, perhaps you're trying to display geographic data around certain event happening, or maybe there are even friends or relatives visiting town and you want to highlight the hot spots to them. Whether you're trying to produce an interactive map for a news story or for personal use, using this tool is very simple and creates a custom interactive map with even custom elements. To give you an idea of what you can do inside of Google Maps, here is a blog post from a few years ago around Hurricane Sandy. And as you can see here, this is a completely custom interactive map. As you hover over the points, you'll actually see that they pop up. Let me zoom out here so we get full functionality. You can actually move around in this map. You can zoom in. We see there are a couple of different elements on here from different icons that point out some of the information around the devastation. So we can click on that and we get more information, even with embedded photos and text. And then you'll also notice that the path is outlined in a transparent overlay. And then there's also the hurricane path, which is outlined in red here. So again, a lot of customizability inside of these interactive maps. And also this is embedded in a blog. So we can scroll and see the rest of the blog. It's embedded there in line. And this was actually a very clever embed because we noticed that the path of the hurricane is very kind of vertically focused. So rather than give a lot of extra space on the left and right of the blog, or of the map, I'm sorry, we've got it relatively narrow. So how do I do something like this? First thing you need to do is go into Google Maps and sign in with your Gmail address. After you've done that, click over here on the hamburger menu. Then go to Your Places. And then go to Maps. And then go Create Map at the bottom. And now what happens is it opens you up into the custom map builder inside of Google Maps. And what I want to do is a couple of things here. First, I want to add some metadata to my map so that if people are looking for it, it's easier to find. So I might do, let's see, favorite spots in Boston. And a description. And save. In here, we can also select how we want the base layer of our map to look. This is what will be exposed to people viewing. You've got sort of different types of looks depending on the information that you are trying to display. Typically, though, I go with the maps that are, most maps use are these first two options. Let's for our sake just use this one. Then you can also import layers to your map. This is if you're doing some more advanced mapping techniques, which we're not going to cover in this tutorial. But this is where you would import data from a spreadsheet, a CSV file, or somewhere else. So we're basically going to zoom in on Boston. And as you noticed, when I search that, it pulls up a point on my map, and it asks me if I want to add it to the map. Now, I could do that, but in this case, I'm not going to. So, let's see. My first favorite spot we will add. Let's say we want to add Fenway Park. So what we can do is click on the icon for Fenway Park and click Add to Map. And now, once we have that point on our map, so the points don't get added to your map until you select Add to Map. You could do a number of searches inside of the map up here in the search bar, but only when you click Add to Map will it add to map. So there's details from Google Maps here, like the address and a phone number and reviews. If I want to keep that in my listing, I can, but if I want to remove it, I can also click Remove as well. Then we've got a couple of options in here with the points that we want to customize. So the style in which it appears. So we can change the color of the point. We can also use some of the popular icons, or we can check out more icons. They've got a lot. They've really expanded over the past couple of years. Let's see if there's one for baseball. There we go. So we might want to add that there. And let's make it red. Then we click on the Edit button. We can rename our title here. And we can also choose to expose a description. Now, if we wanted to, we could add an image as well. So if you have an image of Fenway Park that you want to add in there, you can search by URL. You can upload your own. What I might do is go and say Fenway Park images. Here's a little trick because we want to make sure that we have the rights to use the images inside of our reports. So what I'm going to do is click on Search Tools, Usage Rights, and Pictures that are labeled for reuse. So now these are all pictures that are available through Creative Commons for us to use inside of our reports. So I'll go View Image, and when we want to embed an image inside of a Google map, we have to make sure that we have that extension .jpeg or another image format, but it has to be that image that we are trying to embed. So what I'll do is copy this web address, go back to my interactive map, and click on Image URL. So now inside of our interactive map, we have one key point so far, and that's Fenway Park. And when someone clicks on it, they'll get the image of Fenway Park, and they'll get our little description that we've added as well. Now I'm going to go over and show you how to highlight an area. So we've talked about adding points to a map. So let's go ahead and call out a specific area on the map. So we're going to go, let's go over here. And then I'm going to take my point tool, add a line or shape, and then what you can do is go and add a point-to-point shape. Do we want to add an image? Let's see what is available for us. Oh, there's one that's available. Remember, we had that labeled for reuse function on there. So, oh, what happened to my map? Oh, there we are. All right, good. We've added that on there. So we can actually go in there and edit this. So maybe we want to make it green, And maybe we want to change the transparency so we can make it fully solid, or we can make it kind of halfway, and we can also add on a border to really make it stand out on the map. I think that looks good. Then one of the other things I want to show you is how to add a walking route. So say, for example, you are trying to, point a nice walking route out to someone, or perhaps you're tracing the race route for the Boston Marathon or something along those lines. So maybe add walking route. And um, let's say we'll start from Kenmore Square, right underneath the Citgo sign. Go down Deerfield, turn down Bay State. No, we don't want to go down. No, no, no. Not sure why it's routing me around there. Let's get out of this and start over. Yes, we are going to get rid of you. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay, there we go. So now what we can do on here is rename it. So walking tour of BU campus. Customize this point. So start at the Citgo sign and end on Avenue. Good. And the last thing I want to do is add a custom point to my map. So, for example, what I might want to do is select, let me deselect from there, select a point, drop a pin, and what I might want to do here is edit the icon that shows up. So, oops. So what I might want to do is go under More Icons under the paint box and go Custom Icon. So again, this is asking me to find an image I want to use using an image URL and upload that. So let's see, not anything comes up. Aha, here we go. So let's use something like this. Copy this image URL. Go back in, say we want to use an image URL for our icon. Now, not crazy about that. That's not very easy to see. So let's go and just for to show you what I might do, and we're going to turn that off. what I might do is use one of these images just to sort of show you some of the functionality that this could work like. Go back into this image, edit it, more icons, custom icon, insert an image URL, click OK. That looks a little bit better, right? Because the image kind of fits. You can sort of see a little bit what it looks like. And then, of course, I could go in and add a description and a photo and all sorts of other things in there as well. The descriptions support hyperlinks, so feel free to get creative when it comes to building that interactive map. All right, so I've now added a highlighted area to my interactive map, a custom point using a custom icon and selecting it via dropping a point on the map, a walking tour, and a just a point of interest with Fenway Park. And inside of that, I've embedded a photo and written a description. I've highlighted this area and changed the transparency and also embedded the photo. And then I've gone out and sourced a custom icon for my interactive map. Now my map is complete and I want to share it out. But what I want to do is get that nice functionality like we saw inside of the blog before. I want to be able to embed it. So what we're going to do is click on Share. And it seems like they always change how this is, how this shares out. So bear with me 1 second. Aha, here we go. So we click on Embed Map. Okay, it's telling us that we need to change permissions. So let's do public on the web, save, done, go back to Embed Map, and what ends up happening is it will embed the map, but it will embed it in this exact view. So what we need to do is change the view of the map to how we maybe want it to be presented. So maybe we want it to be presented like that. Then what we need to do is go into Embed, and then select this code and paste it into the HTML side of our blogs or whatever website that you are trying to embed it on. Couple of things just to make sure that we're all set on the sharing piece. When I click on share, what I want to make sure I do is change the privacy settings for this map. So what I did was I went in and I went change and I posted it public on the web. So that way it will embed on any blog or any website without any sort of restrictions, and that's what you want. And then I've gone embed on my site. I copy that link, and let me just show you an example of how I might embed that map. Again, remember HTML side of the blog, paste that in. It appears, and now one of the things that you might want to tweak is the size of this map. So maybe we want to make it a little bit taller and maybe a little bit narrower. So did you notice what I did there? I actually went into the HTML side and I'm trying to zoom in so you can see. And I changed the dimensions on the height and I changed the dimensions on the width in order to make the map change inside of my view. And you'll notice even in the rough draft of the blog post, you get functionality inside of the map, which is pretty cool. All right, so we've covered the basics of creating an interactive map using Google Maps. You've seen how to map a path. You've seen how to draw polygons and change shading, create custom points, and create points of interest. After that, we went in and embedded the map on a blog, which the functionality is very easy, and it makes it really easy to create these great interactive maps. So thanks for joining me on this, and let me know if you have any questions.